Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk a little bit about being judgmental, right? Because for the past sort of 8, 9, 10 years, I'd say my entire adult life and my childhood as well, I've been quite a judgmental person. For instance, when I was a kid, I was growing up in the sort of, like, what's his name, Tiny Temper kind of era. And you know, like black and yellow, all that sort of shit, right? And I looked at it and I sort of thought, these people are wankers listening to this garbage music. And you know, they think, oh, everything's so fucking cool because they're listening to this music, and it's like, it's not. And I thought I was so much better than them because I listened to Master of Puppets by Metallica, you know. I'd look at people that liked fashion, right? And I'd think, oh, you're all just trend chasers that get the next thing, and oh, you're only in it for the looks of other people and the approval of other people. Why don't you just dress however the fuck feels comfortable? Why don't you just dress for the sake of having clothes on, right? And you know, that kind of evolves into your older sort of self, you know, like early 20s, you know, it starts to solidify because you're becoming your own person rather than just an extension of your parents. So you start looking around and seeing things through a new judgmental lens, which is kind of, I wouldn't know exactly how to put it, but you kind of look at people and you just kind of get this bad sort of feeling, even though these people are just having a good time, you know? Like, for instance, I'd go to the pub or whatever and I would see some bloke who's dressed a little bit flamboyantly, and I'd just be like, and it's not out of homophobia or anything, I'd just be like, that guy just sort of looks like a twat. Right? Even though I'm not even thinking that the bloke's gay, I'm just thinking that he just looks like a twat, right? And I'd look at a lot of people and think they look like twats, but realistically, what they doing that's harming anyone? What they doing that's causing people pain? They're just, you know, expressing themselves at the end of the day. And a lot of that comes down to this idea that people are only out to seek approval, and you know, that's one of the worst things you can ever do. You see it a lot in sort of right-wing spaces where, you know, oh, every sort of woman that does anything ever, they only do for the approval of others. They only put makeup on so that they can get the approval of men. They only the attention of men. It's all about seeking attention. That's what I meant, not approval, although approval as well. They kind of go hand in hand. You know, you'll see something like, oh, a woman puts on makeup or dresses nicely and reveals a little bit of this, right? And it's all, oh, it's just for attention. They only want to get attention. And realistically, they don't. They don't necessarily, I mean, it's not that they'll hate the idea of the attention. If they get a bit of attention, they'll take it. But, I mean, don't we all do things for the sake of bettering the world in some way, even if it's just a tiny little thing? Like, sometimes you might see someone doing something nice for someone, giving some money to a homeless man, right? And you see them doing it, right? Maybe on the side of the road, and on the other side of the road, there's someone that's giving some money to a homeless guy, right? Is that person doing it for attention? Are they doing it for the attention of the homeless man? Are they doing it for the attention of me looking at them? Should they have waited for no one to be around before they gave the homeless man that money? Should they have waited for the homeless person to fall asleep before they slipped it in their cup? I mean, attention isn't the worst thing ever, but it's made out like if you're seeking attention, I'm seeking attention all the fucking time. Look how I'm dressed. Look at what I'm doing. I'm sat in the middle of Lithuania, in the middle of some random street, instead of, you know, like looking around in awe of the beautiful architecture or going around the museums and educating myself about the history. I'm sat here recording a video for the internet so that you can all look at me, right? Isn't that seeking attention? Is that not the worst thing that you could ever do? I don't think it's that bad, really. You know, we all seek attention in little ways. It's nice to, you know, feel sort of some level of support from your fellow peers, you know? And it's nice to give that support to other people. You know, I just don't see what the issue is. I don't see why it's such a bad thing for people to seek attention. Because I think when people say that, they're thinking, you know, this person will literally die if they don't get the attention that they desire. And obviously, people can go too far with it. You know, there are some people out there that are constantly seeking validation, and I would differentiate that. Attention and validation are completely different things. Attention is just, you know, someone going, oh, I recognize that happened. I recognize that you did that. I recognize that you said that thing or you made that point, right? If I made a point about anything ever, is that not seeking attention because I want you to respond to it? And validation is more, you know, please approve of what I'm doing. Please approve of me. Please approve of this and the way that I'm dressed or the things that I'm saying. You know, and that's where you know, you get people that go around just sort of saying the newest political slogan or whatever. And a lot of that can be seeking validation, but it's not necessarily to say that they don't inherently and truly believe the things that they're saying. Even if they haven't got the highest level of education on the topic, or they might be wrong about the topic, that doesn't mean that they're not passionate in enough of a sense to actually bother going out their way to say something like that, to say something controversial, to rock the boat slightly. Why is it that we should all be forced into these little boxes of conformity, right? Why should we all have to sit there and do what everyone else is doing? Because if we don't, then we're obviously just seeking attention, right? As if, you know, standing out in any way is a bad thing, right? And I think a lot of it comes down to, I want to say a lot of it comes down to jealousy, but I don't necessarily know if that's true, because when I was judgmental and I was looking at people sort of going, oh, you're just seeking attention or whatever, I don't think that that's what I was thinking. I don't think I was looking at them and going, God, I wish I was them. Maybe I wished that I had their happiness, because every time I saw one of these people, they were always happier than me. And that always made me feel bad, because I was an unhappy, judgmental little prick, really. And seeing someone do something that, you know, they enjoy, that gives them some level of satisfaction, that makes them feel like themselves, and, you know, makes them feel one with the world around them, I don't see why that's a bad thing. I don't see why the past me was sitting there looking at them all sneery, like, look at you, you're trying to get approval, you're trying to get attention, whatever, right? So what if they were, you know? Have I not done that? I make fucking YouTube videos, for fuck's sake, you know? Doesn't everyone do this? Anyone that ever tries too hard at anything, anyone that ever puts in that little extra bit of effort, are they not doing it for some level of, not even necessarily validation, like, oh, thank you so much for doing that thing, that little extra bit of work, you know, but maybe just to feel that someone else will benefit from the fact that you put in that little extra work. Like, for instance, I don't know, say you live in a flat share, right, and everyone puts all their washing in the same tumbled washing machine, right, and you put the washing out and you don't tell anyone, right? You're not doing that for attention, you're not doing that for validation or approval, or, you know, some sense of like, I need to make sure that I do my bit here. Like, obviously that's in the back of your mind. You're doing it because you want to make other people's lives easier, so that when they come down into the washing room, they look around, they go, oh, the washing's already done. I thought I was going to have to come and take all the stuff out and put it out to dry, but it's already out and it's already dry. Oh, that's made my life a bit easier. People want to make other people's lives easier. And I think it's a good thing that we can all do that, and that we can all put in that little extra bit of effort. And obviously that's on a small scale, and it can go higher and higher and higher until you end up with just full-on flamboyance. You get people that go to concerts and dress up like fucking crocodiles or whatever. You know, you get so many people that want to be a little bit weird, and why should we get that why should we get in the way of that? I don't know. I don't see why there's a big problem with that. That pigeon just sneezed. Achoo. That means thank you over here, by the way, in Lithuania. Achoo means thank you. So thank you, pigeon. Thank you very much for watching. What a brilliant segue that was, huh? That's the best segue I've ever done. I want some validation on that. Isn't that the worst thing that I could have ever said? Yeah. What do you think about this whole topic? What do you think about the idea of attention seekers? Do you think I'm maybe being a bit lenient? Do you think maybe the past me was right? Do you think maybe there's a, you know, good middle ground in there? I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's something going on. But at the end of the day, look at how I'm dressed. I'm obviously seeking some kind of attention or validation. I want someone to go, ooh, you look good, right? I mean, I don't really want the comment, you know, I mean, I don't mind getting the comments, and maybe I do want the comment deep down. You know, should we all not want to ever be complimented? Is that what it means? The idea of seeking attention. So we should all walk around actively avoiding being complimented. And if we do get complimented, we should be embarrassed about it. Obviously, you can be a bit coy about it. It's like, oh, okay. You know when someone goes on a really long complimentary thing about you, and they're like, oh, you're such a nice guy, blah, 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 and it feels a bit uncomfortable. You know, I get that. But a nice little quick compliment, like, oh, you look good. That's nice. It's nice to feel like that. And I don't see why we should, you know, get in people's way because, oh, they're seeking attention or they're seeking fucking whatever. And that's basically my point. I hope it made some level of sense. I'm not entirely sure it did. It's been a bit all over the place, but then I am on holiday and I'm making content for you anyway, so shouldn't you feel so lucky? Aren't I seeking so much attention by being on holiday and doing this? I'm not sure. Oh well, fuck it. I feel like my left eye, or probably your version of my right eye, has been half closed all the time because the sun's there, something like that. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.